kids, anybody who's watching this, I just want to say greetings from the year 2012. It's November 6th. It's election day in America. It's a very bright, beautiful November day, crisp and clean. It's a really wonderful day out here. I wanted to take a few minutes to explain why I voted for Mitt Romney this year. My objective is to illustrate some of my philosophy, some of the way I think, some of the things that are important to me as a person, and what I'm living for. So I'm going to take a few minutes to explain the sign and make a few other comments about the election and about living in America in general. First of all, the message is stop Obama and go Romney. And the reason is Obama is principally just a leftover leftist from the child of the 70s, essentially. Some key factors in his life, some key mentors, some key people that put what he is into him were people like Bill Ayers, the Weather Underground guy, and Frank Davis, the communist professor in Hawaii. Jeremiah Wright, part of the liberation theology movement subset in black culture. So popular with, that was somebody honking in support. So popular in the 70s, and probably, at the root of like the Sandinistas and etc. So, stop trying to go at USA. Just, this just says, hey, let's buy American when we can. When we can, when it makes sense. Let's buy American as much as possible. Keep profits here in the United States. Stop Iran and go Israel. Iran is exporting revolution, jihadist Islamic revolution around the world, and they have vowed to obliterate the nation of Israel off the face of the earth. They are calling for their complete eradication. And it really is kind of puzzling because the last people that asked for that were the Nazis under Hitler. So somebody ought to take note about why are these people so adamantly against the Jews? When right now, today, only the Jewish state has anything even closely resembling freedom of speech, democracy, free assembly, freedom of religion, truly, only in Israel. Stop Islamists and go free speech. This is the biggest problem, besides the economy, facing us today is the worldwide Islamist jihadist movement, who are seeking the imposition or the reimposition of the Islamic Caliphate, which is another word for empire, and who want Sharia law to be the law of the land everywhere. And I just want to remind everybody that under Sharia you have freedom of religion, but it's freedom only of the Islamic religion. You have freedom of speech as long as you don't talk against the religion or call into account any of the judgments of the mullahs, etc. And that ain't the freedom that we know in this US of A. Where dissent is allowed. I had a great conversation with Merle, my neighbor, who's pro-Obama, and we had a very friendly, talkative conversation. And I said, I don't support Obama, but I support your right to support Obama. And he said, it's the same for me, Mark. He says, I'm not for Romney, but I'm for your right to be for Romney. So that's America. That's what the US of A is about. Debate, discussion, may the most persuasive and the best, most vindicated arguments win. Next is Obamacare, which is trying to address the healthcare problem, which is a problem. I don't have health care. I'm living by faith in God to keep me well. So far, so good. I'm going to keep trusting Him. He always takes good care of me. He's always taken very good care of me and always taking good care of my beloved family as well. So, the problem with Obamacare is the mandatory nature of contraception, which is an imposition, a dictatorial imposition of a philosophy on people who have said, we don't believe that. We don't believe that anyone has a right to take the life of the unborn. Companies like Hobby Lobby, Chick-fil-A, Grove City College, the Catholic Church, these people should not be mandatorily forced to buy coverage to perform things which they say are wrong. They believe they're wrong. So that's one feature. The other feature is penalizing people for not having insurance. Well, who's the beneficiary of that? Of course, the federal government is, because they're the ones collecting the penalties. And so this is another problem. I'm not saying that healthcare is not a problem. I'm saying that this approach is not the right approach and that we need a different approach. The next feature here of my platform is Stop the Nanny State and Go Budget Acts. We have a very difficult problem facing us, and that is the overwhelming deficits in this country. Almost half of our country's spending is on entitlement programs, and that's money going to people. So what that means is, to take the budget acts of that's going to hurt, it ain't going to feel good, and people are going to suffer. And there's no getting around it. But how can you keep writing checks with money you don't have? How can you keep putting a credit card on the table when there's no money in the bank to clear the statement? So we've got to do something about this, and it's just going to hurt. It's just going to hurt. I think we need to devolve the drift into welfareism and look to the private sector for relief, and mainly let the capitalists go free to create jobs in this country. Let the energy industry go free to drill for new oil. We need to become independent of Saudi Arabia. We need to become independent of Iraqi oil. We need to become independent of Venezuelan oil. Let these guys sell their oil to somebody else. We don't need to be dependent upon them. There's no reason for that. We can be completely self-sufficient as far as our energy needs are concerned. And we need to do that, so we're not beholden to these powers. You know, Saudi Arabia is the #1 supporter of jihadist revolution in the world, of Al-Qaeda and all the rest of them, and the Muslim Brotherhood. They don't need to be our friends. They don't need to be our friends. Stop Hollywood and Go Main Street. This is really a vote to say, I no longer want to be controlled and defined by an entertainment culture. I don't have television in this house. We don't pay for any kind of TV, and I don't even have a digital television aerial to watch any news. I get my news off of my iPhone. So good old trusty iPhone, Twitter feeds, Fox News channel on here, all kinds of blogs, all kinds of websites on my smartphone. This is where I get my news from. But we don't pay for entertainment. So, and really, Michelle, my wife, and I have talked about this. We don't have much time to watch TV. We're too busy with other things. Family, church projects, stuff with other people. This is what consumes our time. So, let's stop being an entertainment culture. What I mean by Go Main Street is, let's get back to community life. And let's get back to simpler outdoor pleasures. Let's get back into doing sports. Let's get back into hunting and fishing, tennis, golf. And, now let's get away from TV and video games, and so much of it is just a waste of the mind. Let's get back to books. Let's read. We're a nation of non-readers. We've become an illiterate nation, and I still read prolifically. That's something that anybody knows me knows. I read all the time. I read books, magazines, articles. I write. So I don't believe in videographic culture or videographic media as a principal media. I believe in the written word. Now, in the bottom of my heart in all of this is this love for America. And why Mitt Romney? Why vote for Mitt Romney? Well, he's a Mormon. And this is the other question people would have for me. Mark, you're an evangelical Christian. How can you vote for a Mormon? Aren't they a cult? Haven't you defined them as a cult in your past? Yes, I have. That has nothing to do with how I vote. What I look for in a leader that I'm going to elect and cast my vote for is, do they love America? Do they love the U.S. Constitution? Are they for the life of the preborn? Do they believe in the fundamental rights of Western civilization? Freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, freedom to own property, these fundamental values of Western civilization, which are completely captured in the U.S. Constitution. Mormons are thrifty. Mormons are self-sufficient. Mormons are not welfare addicts. Mormons are very much pro-family. So that's who I'm voting for. I'm not voting for a Sunday school teacher. I'm not casting a vote for a theologian to teach my kids how to be pastors and preachers. I'm not voting for a preacher to preach the Word of God to me. I'm voting for somebody that'll stand up for America, somebody that'll do the right thing, and will stand for America's interests and not globalist interests, and most certainly not the interests of Islam. Islam has no role in Western civilization in terms of being a contributing stream of thought or a contributor to the growth and development of Western civilization. Check it out and see if I'm not right on that. So, they're more than welcome to practice their religion freely, but I'm not going to help them do that. And all I want is the same thing they want, which is I want freedom of religion in their country. Let's see if that happens in Indonesia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Yemen. I could go on, couldn't I? It won't happen. So, again, may the most persuasive religion win. Well, it's early in the day. We don't know how this election is going to turn out yet. Everything I'm reading shows it's an extraordinarily close race. Some of the people I more trust in terms of their opinions believe it's going to be a landslide, like a Reagan-esque landslide. The jury's out yet. We'll see how it turns out. God bless you. God bless America. I love you all. Bye-bye.